What's up, everybody? Kinetic here, and welcome back to Path of Exile. It's been a while since I've had a progress report video ready for you guys. I'm going to talk about the whys of that. I'm going to give my updated impressions on this Duelist, Earthquake, Slayer build, the Legacy League, and Path of Exile as a whole. This may be the last video that I make for this league. I'm not sure about that. We'll see. But mainly what I want this video to be, if it is going to be the last video of the Legacy League, is yeah, just kind of like almost kind of do a review of sorts and wrap up my overall feelings with this character. This is by far the furthest that I've ever gotten in Path of Exile with this character. Sadly, it's not nearly as far as I would have liked to go. I am nowhere near Shaper, and I do not see that happening anytime soon, and I'm going to talk about the reasons why, what's holding me back. There's still so much more for me to discover in this game, and I'm really glad that I've learned as much as I have with this character this time in Path of Exile, because it's given me a much greater appreciation for what the game offers, the complexity of it, the depth of it. At times I feel like the complexity is almost like an unnecessary speed bump at times, things that I would rather have smoothed out otherwise. But yeah, we'll talk about a couple of those things. Let's jump into this this new map. First thing I want to bring up is that I have been unable to finish my trials.
The one behind bars, or the one who tortures him.
I have been unable to finish my trials. I cannot find them here in the maps, and it is very, very frustrating. Actually, it's probably more disappointing than it is like kind of frustrating or anything like that. I really wanted to make as much progress, you know, and maybe even possibly find and fight Shaper for the very first time as well. Like I said, with this this character, and so when I can't even, you know, I can't even finish my freaking trial, you know, and finish up the Slayer portion of the build and stuff. It's yeah, it's a bit distressing, if I could use that word. Now I know what some people are going to say, because I've already looked up sort of the solution on the forums and read people's thoughts on what they think about this this problem with their progression in Path of Exile. And apparently there is a channel that you can join that is dedicated to people working together to help each other do their trials, which I think is great. It's, of course, fantastic that Path of Exile is an online game that allows people to cooperate, to trade, to work with each other, to help each other and stuff like that. But I also have to question whether that's actually a good way for the game to fall back on as a solution, you know, to this issue, or to issues in general here in Path of Exile. Because, I mean, let me just put it like this: what happens when, and this is going to happen someday, eventually, just like with Diablo 2. Eventually, there's going to be a lot less people playing, a lot less people around to help you, a lot less people around to do multiplayer. So what happens when the community created solution, which is to work together in multiplayer to solve problems? What happens when there's no longer as big or any community hardly around at all to do that? You know what I'm saying? I don't think that it's if that's the way Grinding Gear Games is sort of treating this, like, you know, that they're leaving it to the community, like I said, to help each other and to solve issues like being unable to find trials or whatever. I'm not sure that that's a really smart thing. Aside from that, right? Because obviously Path of Exile isn't dying anytime soon, right? But aside from that, I also think that that's a problem for people who, like me, want to be more self-sufficient. People like me who, and I've talked about this many, many times over. I like to play solo self-found. You know what I mean? In ARPGs. I like to do it myself, essentially, right? So when I can't find the trials that that I need in order to get to the Uber Lab or whatever, it like I said, it becomes a very frustrating thing. I could, and I have made a lot of compromises to use the online functionality of Path of Exile to break away from that, to break away from my stubbornness, you know. Instead of playing solo self-found, for example, I started to actually get into trading here in Path of Exile, and well, you guys saw that if you've been watching the series. Like that was a big deal for me. To everybody else, that's what they do, you know, 100 times a day or something like that. But for me, that first trade was a big deal, right? It was a very big deal. Let's go ahead and we'll identify this. Cast Ice Nova. I think I'm ready for that. Set up my...
A trap is set. A lure is placed. But stronger foes lie in wait.
Yeah, something did hit pretty hard. My my gameplay always suffers when I'm trying to do commentary at the same time. But yeah, so that's probably the biggest thing that is on my mind for Path of Exile when it comes to hurdles, speed bumps that I would otherwise like to have smoothed out. I don't want to. I mean, if I have to, yeah, I'll get over it, and then I'll start using whatever channels and stuff like that. But just, you know, again, for the sake of conversation and just a thought I'm putting out there, what if this isn't actually such a good thing to continue this this system that means that people can potentially often struggle to actually achieve what I think are kind of simple goals that shouldn't be all that difficult to finish. So there you go, guys. If that sounded a bit long-winded, I apologize, but for whatever reason, whenever I try to bring up a conversation piece, particularly if I'm being critical about a game, I get a lot of people coming back to me like they misunderstood what I was saying. Sometimes it's because they're having a knee-jerk reaction to what I'm saying, not listening carefully to my point, and then jumping to, you know, a defensive position to protect their beloved game. But yeah, that's I guess that's just the internet for you. So I have to kind of go very thoroughly through my points, it feels like, especially lately, to make sure that what I'm saying is understood, and I think you guys get it. The trials seem to be a pain in the ass. In short, the trials seem to be a pain in the ass to... wow, that hurts. Are you serious? Huh. Okay. Speaking of pain in the ass, the trials seem to be a pain in the ass to find. There is a community-created solution, as I understand it, but I don't think that community-created solutions are the best way to handle pitfalls in a game that otherwise I think should be handled by game developers to ensure, you know, a nice, smooth experience. Residence map. I don't think I've done that one before. Alright, let's make our way back to the, where the hell was that anyway? Lost. That was down here in the south, I believe. Make sure I make a portal this time to get to it. Get back to it, just in case. Now, what do I do to deal with this death ray? That's the real question. Do I just hammer the shit out of him and hope that I can interrupt, life leech my way through this fight? Let's find out. Let's be more aggressive with it. That seems to work. It's like Dark Souls sometimes, playing Path of Exile. When you play too cautiously, it's actually going to end up being your death. If you just get in there and beat the shit out of it, it makes it a lot easier to win sometimes. Are those rats? That's fucking nasty. I hate rats. Do I have space for this bow? No, I don't. Alright, we'll have to do some inventory Tetris here for a minute. Speaking of inventory and items and things like that, I'm gonna jump into the next point of sort of criticism, I guess, for Path of Exile. But again, it's more like a conversation piece, and I want you guys to let me know how you feel about what I'm saying, and if there is a solution or something that you can say to make sense of this situation that I feel like I'm in. Items. Right? In this entire time that I've been playing with this Duelist Earthquake Slayer build, I have found just one item that is actually part of this build, and that was the helmet, Devoto's Devotion. I found Devoto's Devotion by myself. Pretty much all the other big pieces here, like the axe, the chest, the helmet, those items in particular, I don't think any others. Yeah, those 3 items, those were given to me by other players, people that you know, are here as well in the Legacy League, and it actually makes a lot of sense now. I mean, not that it was any kind of big mystery or anything like that before, but people were like, in the comments, I see a lot of these comments, they're like, how the hell do you even have a 6 link, you know? Or how did you afford this? Or how did you get that? And stuff like that. People kept asking me so much that it made me question, what, do I really understand what they're asking me? And now I get it. The reason why so many people are asking me, how do I have these items in such a short amount of time? And when they get the answer, half of them get angry at me, is because finding good items in Path of Exile does seem to be a pain in the ass. And not only that, and I was cool with that. I was totally fine with that. But on top of that, it's also incredibly difficult to be able to afford good items as well. Unless, and I know some of you are jumping on your keyboards, unless you know how, right? Unless you are an experienced player here in Path of Exile. And that's what it seems to really come down to. Which I think is okay, but a lot of newer players like myself, right, are going to not understand these things and are going to get even more frustrated than I am and not even continue to give Path of Exile a chance. They'll just be like, this game sucks, I can't find anything, I can't do anything, I'm going back to whatever game I was playing, right? You know, same thing with the trials, really. When you can't find the trials, you know, yourself, and maybe you don't even know that there's a channel and stuff like that, it's going to be a frustrating experience. Even then, it might not be all that much more fun either. But then on top of that, here we have a very difficult RNG system, I feel like, or difficult loot system to find unique items yourself. And then on top of that, it feels quite difficult, guys. It feels, I gotta be honest, it feels quite difficult to even be able to afford even selling items to be able to then trade and get those items. Because not only has Devoto's been the only unique that I've found for my build, but on top of that, I have found next to nothing that could come even close to the amount of currency that I would need for these items that I'm wearing. So again, right, hear me out here. So basically, in a sort of confirmation of these feelings that I have, that it's very difficult to find uniques. And then on top of that, it's also incredibly difficult to be able to trade enough items and have enough currency to be able to afford your own gear. To confirm that, I've got all these comments in my videos saying, how the hell do you have 6 link items? How the hell did you get that item? And then they're pissed off at me because I have these items because they can't do it either. You know what I'm saying? So again, this probably has a lot to do and comes down to experience, right? If you're a very experienced player in Path of Exile, if you're a very patient player and you understand, right? You're granted patience to yourself, basically, right, through your understanding that it's a journey, not a destination, and quite a journey it's going to be, right? With that experience and that patience, yes, I think that it's easier for veteran Path of Exile players to not be frustrated so much with Path of Exile, to take it for what it is, and to make the best out of it. But for everybody else that doesn't have that experience or that knowledge and you know, is willing to have the patience, it explains, I think, why Path of Exile isn't bigger than it is, as far as popularity, and why people prefer other ARPGs over Path of Exile. I mean, don't take my word for it. Just look at the forums. Basically, the things that I'm saying can be confirmed by what seems to be a number of people out there. Not just on the forums, but Reddit. I've been doing searches for answers to my questions and then seeing, like I said, other people have very similar feelings. Other YouTubers as well. Mathification, if I'm pronouncing that right, or Mathil, I suppose we could just say, said it himself when he was talking about D3 and Path of Exile. He said something like, quote, Path of Exile has its share of problems, I believe he said, or something like that. And at that time I wondered what he meant, and maybe he didn't mean the things that I'm talking about at all, but maybe he did. Maybe he was talking about, and also, you know, collectively referring to some of the things here. So I want to know what you guys think about that. Otherwise, and I want to say this as well because I don't want it to end on a negative note. Otherwise, pretty much everything else that I have experienced here in Path of Exile has been actually super cool. And while the things that I've talked about here in the video have actually reduced back down my confidence as far as being able to play a little bit more self-sufficiently with my next character, I am still anticipating and excited for 3.0. I hope that I can find a bit more perspective from you guys in the comments, from other research that I'll be doing before 3.0 drops, and try to be as prepared as I can be, right, mentally, and you know, have the right idea for a path to go down to make my Exile in 3.0 as powerful and as smooth of an experience as it can be. Until then, as always, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Click the like button to support Path of Exile videos here on the channel. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next video. Thanks again for watching. This is Kinetic, and I'll see you next time.